First of all, you're here to talk about business in Africa. Tell us a little bit about what you hope to convey as far as the business climate.
The key message is that there are new business opportunities in Africa. 7 of the top 10 fastest growing economies are from Africa. Countries like Ghana, Ethiopia, Mozambique, Chad, Angola. So we are the 2nd fastest growing region in the world after Asia. Number 2, there's a paradigm shift now in the way we're approaching Africa. We want to provide linkages between business opportunity and social impact. Come and make money in Africa, but also make a difference. That's a much more sustainable model than the past. Those are the 2 key messages we're pushing. And then we're going to go into the details: ICT, agriculture, mining, manufacturing, financial sector. But the opportunities are there. Africa is going to be the region of growth ahead of Asia in 10 years' time. Africa is going to have a larger middle class than China in 10 years' time. Africa is the future. Africa is the opportunity in the world for people in the US, for people in Europe, for people in Africa. That's the message we're pushing today.
So you mentioned then the social aspect of business as well. Tell us a little bit about how you envision that working. Give us an example.
Let's talk about the problems. Okay. HIV/AIDS, poverty, malaria, starvation, unemployment, inequality. What we're saying is, look at those problems as opportunities. Why don't you link a human need to a business opportunity? Pursue the solution of the human need and make money in the process. Let's talk about mobile telephony. In 1994, 70% of Africans had never had a phone ring. Forget use, ring, never had it, 70%. Today, 70% of Africans have access to telecommunication. That was a human need for communication, need for communication among the people. But guess what? The mobile telephone companies are making billions of dollars out of Africa. Econet, MTN. And not only that, they've gone into banking now. M-Pesa in Kenya, EcoCash in Zimbabwe. Again, a human need. 80% of the people in Zimbabwe have no access to brick and mortar banking right now as we speak. And the number is very similar in most African countries. That's a human need. But why don't you look at it as an opportunity? I'll come in and provide banking services for the poor, but I make cash out of it. EcoCash is making tons and tons of money in Zimbabwe. M-Pesa is making lots of money in Kenya. Agriculture, food security. Our people don't have enough food. Why don't you use technology, biotechnology, use ICT to drive use per hectare, to provide information about markets, to provide information about the weather? Why don't you use biotechnology to develop high-yield seeds, better fertilizers? When you do all those things, you're going to make money, but you're going to provide food for the people in Africa. We are looking for creativity and innovation in terms of addressing African problems. We are sick and tired of being sick and tired of charity. Don't come to us with handouts. Teach us how to fish. More importantly, why don't you make money by doing good? That's our new slogan.
I like that. Did you just come up with that now? You were talking about that you want to foster that environment. How is Africa doing that? I mean, how is Africa sort of fostering that environment for business entrepreneurs?
Good examples. EcoCash is a company in Zimbabwe formed by Econet. Econet provided mobile telephony for the majority of the people in Zimbabwe. They've gone into banking. That's a good African story of how you solve the issue around communication and how you solve the problem around financial access to banking. M-Pesa, the same story, but that's Kenya. How they've come up with M-Pesa to address a banking need, but MTN and other cell phone companies are providing communication in Kenya. Agriculture, Agra, Kofi Annan, Strive Masiwa and a group of them have come up with what they call agriculture green revolution in Africa, where they're saying, why don't we use ICT? Why don't we use biotechnology to provide information about markets, to provide information about the weather, to provide information about high-yield seeds, and so on, and provide financing for agriculture. These are good examples, 3 examples from Africa that are actually currently being done. But what I want to do now is to motivate these young people and the bankers and the business people in America to say, we are open for business, but you are going to make money and also make a difference. However, one thing I emphasize is that the traditional thing has been, the bottom of the pyramid, the poor have no money. So if I go and invest in the poor markets, I won't make that much money. Actually, it's a misnomer. We call it the bottom of the pyramid. The bottom of the pyramid, there are lots of people in the emerging markets, lots of them with very little cash as individuals, but collectively, lots of money. What you need are different business models, different distribution strategies, different products to service the poor. The way you service New York, the way you service London is different from the way you service poor Soweto, the way you service Kumasi, the way you service the bottom of the pyramid. But guess what? If you are clever enough, if you're innovative enough to design the products, to design the business models, to design the distribution models that are necessary and effective in the bottom of the pyramid, you'll be able to invest among the poor and make tons and tons of money, but also empower the poor and make a difference. Creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship is what we're pushing for us to provide solutions to the poor people, but making money in the process. We don't want charity. Charity is unsustainable. We want economics, what we're calling creation of shared value. Value for business, value for the community, value for the environment. If you can do that, then your business is sustainable.
Yes. What is your advice? I mean, you have been in some really tough situations as a leader. What is your advice to these students about the importance of leadership and how you become a quality leader?
I think the starting point is to challenge conventional wisdom. You've had the big debates. Are leaders born or are they created by Duke University? Others argue leaders are born, natural born leaders. Leaders are taught at Harvard, at Duke, at Columbia. There's a new philosophy in town that says, no, none of the above. Leadership is a decision. You decide to lead. So this is a better philosophy because it encourages everyone to become a leader by adopting what we call leadership values. Yeah? By making sure that you lead yourself first before you lead others. By making sure that you have integrity, by making sure that you have a vision and you can empower others to become leaders. So I think the most important thing is, yes, to being born with ability, yes, to good training, but that doesn't make you a leader. Leadership is a choice. You see a human need, you see a challenge, you prepare yourself, you take a plunge and make a difference. And that's what, if you were to ask me, is what we need in Africa. Sacrifice. You know, you don't just become Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison. I know many people will admire him and say, oh, I want to be are you prepared to give us 27 of your life? Many people say, no, I'm not sure about that. I need to go to the movies. I need to go to Harvard Business School. I need to go to Duke. So sacrifice and making a decision. Mandela was very average in terms of intellect and ability, very inarticulate. He didn't go to Harvard or Duke. He went to Fort Hare. But right now everyone worships him because he made a decision. Gandhi, another example. Very average lawyer, very mediocre lawyer in South Africa, very average in terms of human attributes. But he made a decision to stand up to power. Now Gandhi is an icon, now Mandela is an icon. So what I want to say, which is different, is that don't believe the hype about leaders being born. Don't believe the hype about leaders being created by good programs or good education. Leadership is a choice. Leadership is a decision.
Is there anything else you want to add that I didn't ask you?
I think to the African American community and to the Africans in America, to the Africans in general, you must play a role. This category of Africans, Africans living in America, African Americans, Africans on the continent, Africans in the diaspora in general. All of you, the African constituencies, people of African descent and construction must take a vested interest in making Africa successful. You'll never be respected as an African. You'll never be respected as an African American until Africa has done well as a continent. This is a message to Obama. It's a message to Oprah Winfrey. It's a message to the African leaders on the continent. It's a message to the Africans at Duke. Forget your personal success story. So forget being a superstar. You are no superstar unless Africa as a continent is a superstar economy. I hope Obama understands that. He's of African extraction from Kenya. He can run America well, but why don't he do what he can as an African who is running America, an American citizen, to take care of Kenya, take care of the African continent? I'm challenging myself, coming out of Oxford, MIT, working for NASA, McKinsey. I'll never be respected as an African until the African continent is a superstar economy. However, the rest of the world, other constituencies can help us, but we must take charge of our own continent of origin. That's my special message to these people of African extraction.